Have you ever made some goals for yourself, set some plans, put something in place to really create the change that you want? And you start off really well. You're doing it, you're doing what you said you were going to do, but then something starts to happen and you become very inconsistent with that plan. Well, today this video is going to share with you 3 tips on how to be consistent. So let's talk about it. Sometimes we have the best intention. You take a minute, you take a look at your life, you start to see some things in your life that you would really like to see different. You would like to feel different. You would like to experience life in a different kind of way. So you decide, hey, I want to set this goal for myself. I want to create this change. And you start to set these plans. You start to create this plan for yourself. It always seems to start on Monday for some reason, but we start off well. Whatever it is you've decided is important for you, whether it's losing weight, whether it's feeling better, whether it's saving money, whether it's, creating different types of relationships in your life. And you start out with it going exactly as you planned and you feel good about it. But then you fall off the wagon and you find that the biggest challenge to creating that change in your life is remaining consistent with the plan. Well, here are 3 quick tips to help you to really stay consistent and stay on that path that you've created for yourself so you can see the change that you want to have in your life. Now, the first tip number 1, is to really have a clear goal in mind. Sometimes we may make these very vague statements. I want to lose weight. Well, you have to have a clear goal. How many pounds and how much time? That's a clear goal. Another thing that sometimes we say is we want to feel better. But what does better look like? So, how do we know what it is that we're reaching for? What it is when we get there? How do we know we're there? So, if it's something that's so conceptual, like feel better, you want to break that down and make it very measurable. Maybe it's each morning you rate your mood, you rate your feeling on a scale of 0 to 10. 0 feeling like crap, 10 feeling like you all that. And each day you measure that and see if it's progressing upwards so that then you know if you're feeling better. You want to see perhaps if you do things differently when you feel better. Are you more engaging with people? Do you get out of the bed and out the house on time and you're not late for work? Do you eat differently when you feel better? So, when you're trying to set the goal, in order to be consistent, you have to be very clear on what that goal is. So, step number 1 to being consistent is having a very clearly defined goal. Step number 2 for staying consistent is knowing your why. Why are you doing this? Why are you trying to create this change in your life? Why is it important to you? I mean, if it's losing weight and this you've set the goal for a certain amount of weight, are you losing weight because of health reason? Maybe the doctor has told you something that you are not claiming and you're saying, no, 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 that's not me. That's not my life. So I'm creating this healthy being that is, I want to be healthy and that's my why. Maybe your why is because you want to look good for a certain event. You got something coming up or you want to get in that dress. So having a clear understanding of what that why is will help you to stay consistent. If it's more on the emotional side, like we talked about, maybe that why is I want to feel better if we're continuing with that same example so that I can be available for my kids, so that I can have fun and enjoy spending time with my family. Maybe your why is attached to wanting to get started on a new career path, but you haven't had the energy to put forth going back to school or getting additional training. So maybe once you feel better, you'll feel that connection, that why will come into place of advancing your career. Step number 3 in staying consistent is outlining your do's and your don'ts. You have to have certain rules so that you know what you do allow yourself to do and what you don't allow yourself to do. So if we're staying with the losing weight example, your do's may be I do walk up the steps instead of taking the elevator. I do drink this number of glasses of water per day. And maybe those don'ts would be I don't eat bread. I don't eat fried food. So that you have very clear rules. Every time you go to do something, you know what your rules are, whether you do it or you don't do it. And that will help you to stay consistent. If you are on the other side, the emotional goal setting, like we're talking about as far as feeling better, maybe your do's are you do pray every morning before you go downstairs. So you're very clear about when something is going to happen and what it is. You do exercise, and that helps you feel better. So you do get on a bike for 10 minutes every day. You do journal in the evening to help you become more self aware and clear your thoughts. You do schedule in your moments that you can practice self care throughout the day. So you're very clear on those do's, and maybe those don'ts are I don't lend money. I don't say yes immediately. That allows you time to think about it and set those boundaries, which perhaps stress you out when you're overextending yourself. Perhaps another don't is I don't spend time or speak to this one person that always brings you down. So, rule number three, or step number three, rather, is to create some rules for yourself, the things that you do and the things that you don't. So, in order to be consistent, you have to have a very clear set goal. You have to really have a clear understanding of your why, and you have to have some do's and your don'ts so that you know exactly what you will allow yourself to do. So I hope this video was helpful for you and that you're able to implement it, get those goals met, and create the life that you love. Please click subscribe so that you can find me and continue to receive notifications when I update with a new video. Take care.